up, guys? Sir Sneaker here. Welcome to Soul Talk, the first episode of Soul Talk, actually. I am, one of your three hosts. I run a sneaker channel where I do news, reviews, and stuff if you haven't heard of me yet. But even if you haven't heard of me, I'm sure you've heard of one of the other two guys, if not both of the other guys in this podcast. So, guys, you want to let them know who you are?
Okay, PB, you go first?
Fran, you go first.
All right. What's good, guys? This is Fran Ian. I do sneaker reviews on YouTube, and I love sneakers. Next is PB. Go ahead.
PB, also known as Preston. I also have a YouTube channel. And, I'm in the middle of both subscribers-wise and location-wise, located in Houston, Texas. Fran out in LA, and Sir Sneaker out in NY. So I think we cover up the whole nation and can speak for a lot of sneakerheads.
Oh yeah,
true.
So basically we're just gonna try to do something like fresh and new, and we're gonna be talking about sneakers and doing some interviews. Although for our first episode, it's just us three. We don't have a guest, which that was actually Preston's idea, which I thought was a pretty good idea. Just keep it to us. But
we have future guests. Probably in the near future, Omar Salazar, maybe a few local rappers in Houston, and a lot of fellow YouTubers for sure show love to the community that's shown so much love to us and whatnot.
As well as maybe people that own shops or work at the shops or are somehow involved in the sneaker industry or the creation of sneakers. You're going to see a mixture of a lot of different things on this show, and definitely your feedback will help us too, wanting to know what you guys want to hear and all that. We hope to deliver on your guys' requests, so let us know.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think between the three of us, we've, we have some pretty cool connections and stuff like that, so you'll definitely be, exposed to some pretty cool guests as we go along. But, so is there anything anybody wants to say before we get into our first topic?
I guess, first of all, I'm really excited to start this up, and it always helps, as I already stated, to get feedback. So please feel free, let us know whatever it is you guys want to hear. I mean, we definitely have topics lined up, but your guys' suggestions will help guide and shape the show to, what you guys want to hear. So,
and definitely shout out to OSB for putting us on, kind of. Giving us some inspiration to start our own thing, coming from the YouTube background.
Yes, let it be known that there's no podcast beef whatsoever. Some people commented when I first put the word out saying you're trying to get up on the other podcasts, OSB's audience and all that stuff. It's we're definitely not trying to do that. That's even why we move the days and stuff. So ours comes out on Monday. So we appreciate what they do, and we're not trying to interfere with that in the slightest.
When I was in Boston, at one point I actually met up with them, and I've eaten with them and all that, good people. So in no way is that the fact. If anything, I mean, I don't know. We're just trying to share our love and, knowledge on sneakers with you guys and have another outlet for you guys to hear and talk with us, because I know, at least I could speak for myself and saying I love watching other sneaker videos and just stuff in general about sneakers. So this is just yet another outlet for you guys to express your opinions and ours too. So.
Totally, absolutely. So I guess without further ado, we will get into our first topic. And our first topic is something that, I think everybody wants to talk about, but I can say especially my subscribers and my channel knows that I love the Air Yeezy. And our first topic is going to be talking about the Air Yeezy 2. The hype over it, Nike sort of falling back and pushing back the release date, the rumors about it, all that stuff. So, Fran, do you want to get us started with your thoughts on it?
I think overall the shoe is an unbelievably well-designed, nice, quality-looking shoe. I am definitely excited for it. I think the gray colorway, however, is the weaker of the two, but with the newest photos and all that, it's very hard to say that shoe's, not cop-worthy. It's very, very nice still, but still the weaker of the two in my opinion. As far as the release date being pushed back, I really hope it's so they can actually produce more for the customer. I know in a lot of my other videos and stuff, I've even said, like, for instance, the Freddy Krueger shoe, really dope shoe, really nice shoe. A lot of people didn't even get to get their hands on it because it never went to production. So for me, I don't care if a shoe's a GR. I don't. If I like it, I'm still going to get it. So I'd really rather that a lot of people that still want that same shoe are able to get it rather than these people out there just, trying to make a buck off the shoes. That's kind of sad. So.
And on the topic of, mass production and the rumors of the Air Yeezy being a general release and at the House of Hoops and whatnot, honestly, I think that could be the best decision Nike could really make in a situation like this. And I think it also benefits, the true sneakerheads, because those people that are really only doing this to make a buck off it, like you said, Fran, they're going to be put in a worse situation if there's more pairs of the sneakers instead of, the 1,000 of each colorway that was actually released for the Yeezy 1. If we have 10,000, then those people that are building up such hype on the shoes, kids camping out for like over a month for these damn sneakers, they're going to be kind of disappointed, and it kind of demotes the whole reasoning behind actually creating all this hype. Other than the fact, it is a pretty nice sneaker. Features that python skin on the back. Like, that's crazy. Personally, my favorite colorway is the wolf gray. I think that just the color blocking on that is outstanding. But honestly, I'm not going to pay more than, a few $100 for them. Basically because they're a Nike shoe, and I don't think that you should be paying ridiculous prices for a Nike shoe.
I have to agree with you, Preston. I definitely think, it's getting so out of hand. And we're going to talk about the Galaxy stuff later, but when the Galaxy Foamposite prices got so high, it was like, come on. And I personally, a lot of people came to me and they're like, oh, don't you think it'd be ruined if the Yeezys weren't limited? No, not at all. To me, and I think I speak for everybody here, like you guys have said, that, we like the shoe for the shoe. So to me, who else, I kind of prefer if other people can get the shoe. I want people to get it. And I will say this, I do think producing more of them will work. I think it's, you kind of have to look at it the same way Jordan Brand looked at the release of all the 11s, every year. The reason because of course, these companies, they want to create hype around their product. But, when it comes to for instance, the Concords or the Space Jams, you could make it a relatively wide release and still sell out and get all that hype because so many people wanted the shoe. So I think Nike can really keep the hype, but also, let people buy the shoe that they want to buy. And for those of you who follow my videos, I love the Air Yeezy, more than any other shoe, and I'm going to get it regardless. But to me, I really think just people should be able to buy the shoe they want. And also, for the record, I flip daily, but I kind of have to agree with Fran. I kind of think the black and pink colorway is a stronger colorway.
But, really the only person that would affect would be the resale, and even obviously Nike would gain so much more profit by releasing more. And you had said that, Preston, you had said that there's 1,000 of each colorway and, 10,000 would be helpful. I'd say 100,000 would be helpful, to be honest, because I know in a lot of cases, especially with, I don't know about the newer phones, but the phones like last year and stuff, the numbers are a lot higher than you'd think on how many go into production. So they still sold out. The prices are still high as far as resale value. No matter what, even if they make 100,000 of each of these colorways, the price will still be high, and it's not just because it's limited. It's because it's a nice shoe. It's because people still miss out on it. Not everyone's going to be able to get it. No matter what, the value is going to be high. And I know that's what Nike still wants. They want to check the sites, and they want to see that the shoes are selling for a lot, because that still shows how successful their product is and all that. But I think it could still maintain that, and it will definitely still maintain that. GRs from a few years ago are now going for, 500, whatever it is, 400, all these different crazy prices right now. The sneaker game prices are very crazy. And there's no way, honestly, I can tell you right now, there's no way, even if there's a lot produced, that the Yeezy resale price will be, under $500, guaranteed.
Yeah. And it's kind of crazy. When I entered the sneaker game, prices were fairly similar between recent Jordans and recent SBs, and now the gap is just so changed because people are really focused on Jordans right now. SBs have completely lost all of their their track, and it's kind of sad in a way, but it's the sneaker game and just fashion evolving. Because I mean, come on, you're gonna want to have a pair of shoes that you can wear with your clothes and be fashionable, and like obviously SBs. I'm not saying this is all what everyone thinks, but speaking from my perspective, it's a lot easier to wear Jordans with a variety of things rather than SBs with a variety of things. Like SBs usually going to do the talking, and Jordans are usually going to, be accented by the outfit as a whole. And that's just coming from a fashion perspective. But going back onto the topic of limited availability, that separates a true sneakerhead from, like, someone who's just in it to be cool. Like, oh, man, you don't like them because they're not limited? Like, that's really messed up. If someone's saying that, they're, like, obviously not in the game for the right reasons. Like, you're not going to care how many people have the shoe as long as you love that shoe. And really, honestly, I don't know if it's all Nike's part or role to decide how many pairs they actually make. I think it's partly Kanye West also, because, you have Kevin Durant. He wanted to create that shoe that all kids could afford, and, resellers are kind of ruining that. They have the small resale price, but, some resale prices are pretty crazy on some things.
Yeah. On the KD resale prices, some of them are ridiculous, and especially on the Nerfs just recently.
Yeah, Nerfs.
It's crazy. Like, I don't know.
I mean, to me, like, from what I understand about Nike collaborations, especially because we've all heard the rumors that it was in Kanye's contract with Nike that he only collaborated with Nike that year, and it was in Kanye's contract with Louis Vuitton that he only collaborated with them, and he still kind of broke both those contracts. But I obviously, if that is true and it is just a rumor, it wasn't enough to make Nike not want to make a Yeezy 2. I mean, but at the same time, from what I understand about Nike collaborations, Nike is pretty aware of how much of a chokehold they have on this community that we all operate in. And from what I've understood about most collaborations, it is kind of their way or the highway. I mean, like, I'm sure Kanye has some say, but I personally, there was a really revealing interview in Complex with Kanye and Mark Smith talking about making the Air Yeezy. And Kanye was very vocal that he really wanted the Air Yeezy to be a general release, and it wasn't. So I'm not so sure, necessarily how much say Kanye actually has in the actual, logistics of the release. I think in terms of the design, he probably has a good say, but, I'm not so sure about the release and stuff. But,
I know the information that you just, said came from interviews and stuff like that. And an opinion of mine is when I see these videos of, let's say the KDs or whoever, and these athletes are talking about the shoes, who's to say that's actually their opinion and not what Nike wants them to broadcast, to say that, there's these price points they already have set on these certain shoes, and they sign someone for the lower price point shoe, and they sign someone else for the middle price point shoe, and all that. We don't know, But I think Nike definitely has a lot of control over their collaborations in general, including the marketing of it, which would then, give reason as to why, certain stuff like that would be kind of pushed onto the athlete or the designer when it's really Nike's opinion and Nike's thoughts. Just a thought of mine, something that
I totally agree with that, and we should probably move to the next topic after this. But just one last thing I want to say is, that reminds me of when Terry Kennedy first collaborated with Supra, and I read an interview with him where he said, no, you guys don't understand. Most of the parts that people love about that shoe were already in place before they signed me on, before they made that my shoe. He's like, the double strap, that was not me. He's like, all I added was, the height, that wasn't me. All I think he added, there was significant in terms of the design is clearly the logo and then the lacing system. So, the laces wouldn't get ripped when you skated them. But yeah, so that's, we definitely want to move through these topics. So the next topic we were going to talk about, was Jeremy Scott and basically, what he's done for Adidas. Now, I'd like to start this one off if I could, just saying that I've caught some flack before, and stuff like that for not really being big into Adidas, and I really was not. And I remember, a couple months back, I saw an interview with Jeremy Scott where he discussed how he went into designing the Wings sneaker. And he said to him he wanted to totally redefine what men's sports footwear was. He wanted to give you something that you could barely even define as something you wear and not something you like put up in your house. And after seeing that, I feel like that really gave me a peek into his process. And I was like, oh, I have to get some Wings now because I totally appreciate that. So I got them, and I must say, like, I get compliments. I love them. And I really do think, as much as people are going to hate on me for saying this, you know, like, Adidas is signing rappers, all that stuff to try to, like, build up hype in the U.S. It's really the only hype they've built up is around the Jeremy Scott collection.
Mm-hmm.
I would agree with you in a strictly fashion and streetwear term. I believe Derrick Rose has quite a bit of hype with Adidas. You know, his shoes are selling really well on the actual ball courts, and I think there's definitely like that. You know, in the past 20 years, there's been a pretty similar path between street, like what the fashion is and what the players are actually wearing on the court. But now the technology is just so great that that gap is just really expanding because you don't necessarily want the lightest, most quick reflex shoes to be wearing on the street, when you're going to see a girl or something. You know what I mean? You want the stylish shoes like the Jeremy Scott. And functionality is not necessarily the prime goal of Adidas, but I really do think Adidas is making major moves. Honestly, a lot of sneaker companies are really making major marketing moves, like Reebok is signing, not really signing, but co-signing with Tyga and Mike Posner. Everyone's learning from Nike, I feel, and they're doing it a lot more outwardly than Nike just because they have to, because they are the underdogs. Nike really doesn't have to do so much prominent, straightforward marketing other than, what they do behind the scenes. And I think there's just a big enough company where that works.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree that the buzz around the Jeremy Scott shoes is definitely helped them out as far as the sneakerhead community, but you can't really deny that they make great shoes just in general.
Absolutely.
So I'm sure, outside of the sneakerhead market, there's still those people that are going to, go for Adidas over Nikes for whatever the reason may be, whether it's comfort or functionality or whatever. The sneakerhead market is definitely very different than just your normal consumer of, athletic apparel and stuff like that. So.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree, and I definitely want to make that clear, because I did a controversial video where I said, is Nike SB done for? And a bunch of skaters commented, and they're like, absolutely not. Janowskis are amazing, all that stuff. And I realized I need to clarify. When I speak, I speak from a sneakerhead's point of view, and I sort of speak about our community, but I do need to make that more clear. But I will say this also. I remember, years ago, I went to Paris, and I remember I was looking forward to seeing all these, sneaker spots and all that stuff. And I was blown away. I mean, that was back when Air Force Ones were, the big, stuff to collect or whatever. And, they were, limited Air Force Ones that were on the sale rack. And Adidas, they were flying off the shelves. And from what I understand of the international sneaker market, I mean, if you go to Europe, and of course, there are people, UK sneakerheads and stuff who follow all three of us who can let us know more about this in the comments and stuff. But, from what I grasped, it seemed like Adidas and Converse, to the general, populace really had it on lock. It seems like Nike's expertise is really, the U.S.
Mm-hmm. And I'd say China also.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And Japan, too. I mean, besides, of course, Japan has so many Japanese sneaker brands that have it on lock. But, Nike and Jordan both have some footing in Japan as well. But I definitely mean, in Europe, I think Adidas is, they're definitely doing their thing.
I'm pretty sure I've heard similar things about that, where out there, that's what it is Adidas and all that stuff, and not as much Nike and all that stuff. So, yeah.
And we're here, not to, diss Nike or diss anything.
No.
We're just here to, voice people's opinions, voice our own opinions, and hopefully, make that available to everyone, anywhere, and who wants
just
to listen.
Just chatting about sneakers.
Yeah, absolutely. Please don't get mad at any of us. But I guess we should probably move on to the next topic, which was the Galaxy release, the craziness around it, all the shoes involved. Who wants to start us off with that one?
Well, first of all, I'd like to ask, did you try getting a pair, PB? Like, did you actually want the shoe? Did you attempt to get the shoe?
My attempting to get any really, really hyped pair of sneakers is just asking a homie if he has any connections. I asked that one guy for about every one, and sometimes he says yes, sometimes he says no. This one he said no, and I was like, you know what? I'm fine with that. I would definitely not mind having them, but as like I have a uniform for 5 days, so I get 2 nights to really wear what I want. Those 2 nights, I would really not select that to be at the top of my list for such a heavy price.
Understood. I definitely did want the shoe. The thing is, it actually released on my birthday, so, you know, whether it was between getting the shoe or hanging out with my friends, you know, I picked hanging out with my friends. Definitely rather do that. But the Nike Sportswear out here actually held a raffle a few days after. I did attempt to go to that. I was not successful in getting the sneaker. But, you know, just like you said, I was okay with that. It is something I liked, but, you know, I was okay with not getting it. On the other hand, the LeBron Galaxy, I needed that. And luckily I was able to get it a little bit later. I was able to get it for box price. I was sad that I was only able to get it in the kid size because I do prefer most of my other LeBron 9s or the men's, and call it lame or whatever, but I prefer the box. It's a nicer box.
So, no, dude, totally. I mean, and like to me, it's so interesting you say that because my mom's coworker sent her a picture because she knows that I am really into sneakers or whatever. Sent her a picture of her little son in Nike Town buying the LeBron Galaxies, having no idea what they were. I was like, Mom, you have no idea, like those are super limited, blah, blah, blah. But no, I did really want the Galaxy Foamposites, and I actually really wanted them from the first sample before they came out with the darker sample.
Me too. I prefer that. I really do.
But to me, was it, you know, I don't know if you guys know this. I said it on my channel, but I actually didn't camp for them. I got them as a gift from a friend who works at Nike, and without that. You know, and I just got lucky. I didn't know until 2 days before that was actually going to happen. So, it's actually a lot like PB's scenario. It was like, you know, sometimes he says yes, sometimes he says no. And this time he happened to say yes. I got lucky. I got him. But the most interesting part about the Galaxy release to me was not necessarily how crazy the Galaxy Foamposites got, but rather what the Galaxy Foamposites did for the rest of the pack. Because I really think that people are like, oh, you don't need to make the Galaxy Foamposites limited because, you know, you want to sell as many Galaxy Foamposites as possible. Well, if you remember, when the Galaxy Foamposites first leaked, a bunch of people, the community was split. Some people loved them, but that was the minority. A lot of people thought they were hideous. So then, you know, you make that shoe really limited, people go crazy for it, and then all of a sudden you drop it with 3 shoes that are less limited. And I mean, I'm sorry, this is my personal belief. The Kobe's and the KD's especially would not have sold as well without the Galaxy Foamposite. I do believe the LeBron still would have sold because people were going nuts for that. But the other two, I think the Galaxy Foamposite helped it. And that's the Nike marketing that I think a lot of people don't see.
Yeah. Well, I don't think they meant to make the shoes bad. I think they just knew that releasing it as a pack would just make it sell a lot better, just to clarify.
Yeah. I agree. One thought that I do have is even though I don't technically like the KDs, I've heard from a lot of people they love them and whatnot. So it is still a matter of preference. One thing I got to say as far as mastering the marketing and all that, you know, when certain shoes came out, if they sold out, people were walking away empty-handed. With this release, if they sold out, people stuck around because they still wanted the other shoes. So just like you said, they know what they're doing. You know, they know if they release these other shoes alongside with it less limited, they're going to sell. And it was a great idea. It worked. It's just I'm not happy with seeing it, I guess you could say. It's better for them, but it seems so, I don't know, not as good. From a consumer's standpoint, I was a little disappointed in it. But, you know, it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely, it was just a really interesting release to watch, and it was so like it really. I mean, I think in the past couple of months, you can really break down changes in the sneaker community based on 3 big releases. I think the Concords changed things. I think the Varsity Red Foamposites, especially in New York, changed things. And I think the Galaxy release changed things. You had people coming out who were pretty, new to this whole sneaker thing and were trying to be, on top of everything, which is totally fine. The only part that bothered me is I've seen personally people who just got into sneakers with the Concord release and are now pointing at other people, calling them hype beasts and talking about the good old days. It's like, really? I mean, I'm not going to get too deep into that because, whatever you collect is what you collect. Whenever you came into it is when you came into it. I personally don't like hype beasts. Like, you buy what you want to buy. I think the world would be better if we were just not focusing on what other people were doing, and we were just focusing on what we were doing, at least in terms of the negatives. But those are just my thoughts.
The sad thing is, if that was true, then there wouldn't be so much damn hype in the first place.
Absolutely.
Because, you can't tell someone that, you're buying these shoes just because everyone else is, or you're buying these shoes because you like them. You don't know. You never know. That's the thing. So, why judge? You never know what, someone is really thinking about the shoes, what their goal is, other than resellers. Because you see those resellers, and you can tell the resellers, and they'll even tell you, I'm camping out, I want to make a few bucks. And then, Mayers, did all the math and whatnot, and he's like, bro, you're working for $2.60 an hour. That's ridiculous. A minimum wage, after taxes is even a lot more than that. So, come on.
Yeah, plus you could get a job at the store and not have to camp regardless.
You get cool, bro. You got the Galaxy phone, you got a dude on Facebook, and you seem really popular, but you still made not that much money.
Yeah, definitely. And for the record, people who follow me in the comments are probably going to say so Sneaker, you sold yours. To be clear, the plan was not to sell mine. A certain shoe came up that I could pick up that I've been wanting for 4 years.
I like how you're so sneaky about it, just by the way.
What?
I just like how you're so sneaky about it. A certain shoe.
Well, I'm not supposed to talk about it for a certain reason. but a certain shoe that you guys probably know about came up, and I need to get some money together, so, But anyway, I think we should probably move on to our last topic, which, you two definitely have more expertise when it comes to this than I do. But the Supreme Nike SB Dunk Low that was just, announced.
Fran got this.
No, go ahead. I was just really excited. Sorry. Go ahead.
Oh man, you're completely deserving of this.
So I was really, really excited when I saw the pictures. As I was seeing the pictures, I was getting phone calls, texts, everything right away. And yeah, the first person that called me, it was actually Coco. I don't know if you guys ever watched Mayor's Ustream, but yeah, it was a close friend of Mayor's, and he was talking about the release, and the first thing that came to my mind was, it's been 10 years, holy crap, and that just made me even more excited, to see a collaboration to kind of commemorate 10 years since the last Dunk Low is awesome. The fact that this shoe has red on the outside, the last shoe had red on the inside, I can only hope they're also doing a blue colorway, and getting even more hopeful, they're going to do some Dunk Highs as well, but I highly doubt they're going to do any Dunk Highs. But I will say that it's pretty much impossible for them to just do one colorway. There will be multiple colorways of this shoe. They have always done multiple colorways on all their other collaborations, whether it be Vans, Nike, Timberland, whatever they're doing. So don't think it'll just be the one shoe. That's all we're seeing as of right now. And also, I wouldn't doubt the release being within the next 3 months max, because usually, when they showed the Bruins, it came out soon after that, and when they showed any of the other shoes, it came out pretty soon after pictures first leak. So
the rumors just came out today that they're supposed to come out in April.
Yeah, I saw your video on that. like, a part of me was thinking, like, oh, I hope the rumor isn't like an April Fool's joke. Like, I don't know if it'll be.
Yeah, that sucks.
But it will definitely be soon. So definitely keep your eyes tuned to Source Sneakers page, because I'm sure he'll have you guys updated with the release date when it actually comes out. But I'm very, very excited. That's like, to say it like once isn't enough. Like, I'm very, very excited for this release.
And the cool thing about Supreme and all their collaborations is, you know, if you see an official picture from Supreme, you may not think it's actually going to happen because he blows your mind so much, but, you know, if it's actually from Supreme and not by some random person, you know, it's going to come true. It is going to come true, and it's going to happen in the near future. They stick to their word. They do what they want to do. I think it's really cool that they've, you know, waited such a long time to revamp, you know, another, the most historic Nike SB, if not Nike model of all time. That's debatable with the Air Force One. We're not getting into that. Definitely Nike SB, Dunk Low. And, you know, the Supreme 94s, you know, some people like them. I personally think the first release in the colorways were just much, much cleaner. The second release, you know, they were, and I personally really loved the Bruins. I just thought they were super clean sneakers. You know, the red colorway is super clean, black colorway is super clean. But I think this one's just going to knock, you know, if not all of them, definitely everything except for the previous Dunk Low release out of the park.
Yeah.
I mean, I like, you know, to me, I am not a fan of Supreme. I'm not a fan. I think they do cool stuff. And I'm not a huge SB guy. I mean, I have my SBs and stuff, and I definitely appreciate what they've done. And I think, like, in terms of collaborations, like, nothing holds a candle to Nike SB. Like, they have done some of the coolest collaborations, and I love that. But to me, it's like, you know, even just as a sneakerhead who's not a huge Supreme guy or Nike SB guy, even I'm excited about this release. And even I can recognize what it represents. And I think that, you know, this is, in terms of at least our community, and I realize Nike SB is still big in the skate world, all that stuff, but in our community, I think this is just a really big deal. I mean, what's bigger than Supreme right now? You know,
honestly, like this is, not to get too deep or to go on a tangent or anything, but I think, you know, this is one trait that a lot of sneakerheads don't share, maybe because they're new to the game, maybe because we have a little bit more experience than everybody, but you really just need to have, like, a common bound respect for all the companies that have been doing their things for so long. You're not going to change anything by hating on anybody or anything, really, that's been going on for a long time. So you just need to respect what people do. You need to respect, you know, the collaboration. You don't have to like it, but just, you know, understand the history behind everything. Everything happens for a reason. And a lot of kids, you know, that have just gotten the Concord, just gotten this, they're overwhelmed. And they really don't know what to do with themselves. So they just go on so many different tangents. You know, sneakerheads have their phases. We can talk about that another time because it's a long discussion. But I think we're in a more mature phase at this point. And, you know, we don't have $1 billion to blow. And, you know, I just think it's a dope collaboration.
Yeah, it definitely is. I'm really, really excited about it. And, yeah, I'm hoping to see more than 2 colorways. And, like I said, really wishful thinking. I'm hoping to see more than 1 model released. But we'll see what happens.
Yeah,
I don't expect too much.
I think it's even for me, it's kind of like a must-have. But, anyway, I think that might be a good place to wrap up Soul Talk Episode 1.
Considering it is Episode 1, I just wanted to add one thing real quick.
Go for it.
It's just a little thing I've heard, and I don't think this information is out there anywhere at all. So I figure I might as well mention it. Whether it happens or not, we will see. But since we're talking about
roll, please.
we're talking about SB, I figure might as well let this out. There is a great likelihood that the City Pack we saw in 05 is not the last City Pack for Nike SB. So stay tuned for that. Really, I don't think anyone's covered that or mentioned that at all. So I figured I'd go ahead and mention it.
Cue the oh my god.
Yes. That is awesome. Please, Nike SB, if you're listening, you know, if you just want to come visit Chicago, say hi to Sir Sneaker, add a Chicago sneaker to that pack. That'd be dope.
Houston's really been put on the map, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So
to be honest,
that's what it is.
Anything that happens is exciting. And just so you guys know, I mean, like, that's the kind of stuff you can expect from Soul Talk. I mean, okay, just to say real quick, no, I'm not even going to say anything. I want to end with that news because that's crazy. So, all right, guys, we're just going to leave it there. Just see straight from Fran's mouth. And, man, so happy to have the show together. Thank you two so much for doing this. This is just going to be such a cool thing. I know it.
And I definitely want to thank you guys as well. Yeah, if you guys are tuning in for this first one, we definitely appreciate it. But no, I definitely want to thank you guys too, because although this actual idea for a podcast definitely was not mine, but by any chance, I've always been wanting and thinking of something other than, the videos to kind of get out similar information. So I'm really excited to get this thing started, and I hope you guys listening enjoy it as much as we're enjoying recording it for you guys. So yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys.
I hope you all subscribe to Sir Sneaker's channel, Translations, and mine. Keep it updated on, when exactly the next Soul Talk will be out. It's going to most likely be a weekly, if not more or a little bit less than that. So keep it updated on the frequent. And, yeah, it's all good.
Awesome. I hope you guys enjoyed listening to the first episode of Soul Talk, and stay tuned for more. Thanks, guys.
Peace.
Deuces.